So I want to share with you guys. I met Leeron, I think, through Bigger Pockets podcast. I happen to be a sponsor of one of the channels or something there, and she called me kind of out of the blue. And I get a lot of phone calls from people say they want to do something, and I sent her some properties to look at. And she came back and said, "I really like this one," and I think it just kind of hit her niche as far as the market. So let me bring it up and show you what it looked like then. So this is a property on Wilton, 102 South Wilton. And it was a property that had been sold in probate, but it needed court confirmation. So what happened was a buyer bought the property for $1,407,175. It was listed in MLS. It turns out that I know the listing agents actually quite well. That was a coincidence. But she liked the property, and this is what it looked like. Wilton, if you've not been there, is a busy street south of here. But right there is actually a stop sign, so the traffic slows down. You can kind of see right there, you can see the stop sign right there. So traffic coming from the south going north is like a racetrack slowing down. And then after that, it slows down quite a bit. So it's really like the right spot in what can be a tough area. And this is the backyard, no, front yard still, side, and here's the inside. So it was kind of older and not updated, and the colors were, I don't know what you would call, how would you describe the inside, Leeron?
I would definitely say it was more original. The house itself was built in 1919, so it was very period. I guess that's how I would describe it.
And the colors, like, what about that wall? What do you call that wallpaper?
I'm not sure what that wallpaper specifically is called, but it's definitely not from this time period.
Scary is what I call it. So you can see kind of like the classic, and how about that checkerboard floor? Is that like it's like 1950s Big Beautiful Tomorrow ride at Disneyland? That's like right out of that era, I think. For those who remember that ride. Okay, and then dated cabinets, new appliance. But basically, so how would you describe the condition of this property? I would, well, let me ask you, how would you describe the condition?
I mean, I guess for some people's standards, maybe they could live in it. I'm not really sure, but it was pretty dated. So if you look,
it was clean.
Yeah, it was clean.
And it seemed like everything was working.
Everything. I mean, I guess it was working somewhat. The ceilings, if you look at them, they're more like lats. Like they were like 2-inch like wooden lats. So it wasn't really like the traditional ceiling you would see today. The floors were really worn out. I mean, they definitely needed, I wish I could have kept them and refreshed them, but they were so old that there was no saving them there. And the bathrooms were just obviously original, like clearly from the 1919 time period. It was clean. That is for sure.
Yeah, I have to say the agent did a nice job as far as getting kind of prepared for the market and the best. I think it was buffed up and cleaned up as best they could, given what they had to work with. So I think I would call this clean but dated. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I would definitely say that.
And so this property, now this is all public record information. So this property was bought, but she had to go into court. And so this is the probate court overbid. And so somebody had agreed to buy the property for this price, $1,437,175. And she'd be willing to pay that plus 5% plus $500. That's just the formula as the minimum overbid for a property at probate court in the state of California. That's the requirement. So that ends up being, you bought it for about $1.5 million, right?
I believe what we closed on is that number, but yeah. It was a previous number that we came into court. It was
I'm sorry, you're right. You're right. Yeah. You're right. This is the final number that we sold at.
Yes.
Okay. And so then she turned around and fixed it up. And how long did it take you to fix up the property?
It took us a year and then some change. And then we were debating on if to keep this one or not, but we ended up selling it.
So when you first planned about the property, how long do you think it would take you to turn it around?
We did think 8 to 12 months just because we did a complete gut rehab. I mean, we're talking new roof, electrical, front and backyard, landscaping, kitchens. We added, I believe, 2 bathrooms. We completely changed and rearranged the master so it was more functional. I mean, we literally looked at it as like, how do we transform this into the perfect home? So it was a lot of work. We restored the fireplace, the Batchfelder fireplace over there, custom molding all throughout. I mean, we really wanted it to be period and to really look like the house was restored from the original time.
And you staged it.
Yep, and we staged it.
More lighting.
Yes.
Redid the
More lighting.
ceilings.
Yep.
Recessed lighting for the ceilings. Everything's up to date.
Yep. Floors.
Line.
We put all Thermador appliances, super high end. We added that little pot filler up there. I mean, we really went all out here.
Yeah, and then this is the laundry area. Now you can see the bathroom's completely updated.
Unfortunately, it looks better in person.
Of course.
I mean, it looks beautiful in photos, but in person, it just has a different feel.
Yeah, it was magnificent. When I went in, I remember going in before, and it was kind of scary, and the after photos are just, I mean, this is just really a very, very nice, beautiful home. You would not, assume it was the prior home. This is definitely the after photos. And then I think you redid this. This is a master bedroom closet that you created, right? A walk-in closet?
Yeah, so it was really interesting. So basically for the upstairs, there were 4 bedrooms and only 2 bathrooms. So there was a Jack and Jill setup and then another bathroom. So there was no really like master. So to make the long story short, we turned the Jack and Jill, we cut it in half and gave each like bedroom its own ensuite. And then we added another bathroom for the 3rd bedroom and then created a master, because there was a room inside of a room in the master. Because back in the day, those were like old day, like sick rooms, like TB rooms, where someone would kind of sit in there and air out whatever like it was that they had. So we basically turned this extra room within a room into a bathroom. And that was the master bathroom that you saw.
And you see outside the yard, the landscape also was just breathtaking, I thought. Just a really great job.
Thank you so much.
The challenge is you're kind of on a border, right? South of there are, properties not restored and not as nice. West of there, Hancock Park. East of there are some nice large properties. North of there, nicer. You're right to transition. So you really made this into the property that fits with the bigger houses and rather than smaller houses, right? I mean, that was a conscious choice. Now, you did this. You had this in the market for how long? Once you finished the job.
So we finished in March, I believe. And then for a couple of months, we were kind of like dangling the idea of keeping it. So we kind of held on to it for a bit. And we officially put it on the market. And I remember this day like yesterday, it was the day that rates went up. It was like June something. I don't remember the exact date. But that date was a rate hike. And that date was the date that everything in the market completely kind of like changed and halted, and those bidding wars disappeared.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It took a little bit of courage to hang in there.
I know.
So we talked about the money side. Now, would the property end up selling for $2.95 million? So you bought it for about 1.5, you sold for 2.95, and then there you have your costs, and then you have a fair profit. Yeah. So do you want to go into? Can you share any details as to what it cost you, or is that getting a little too proprietary?
I will say that we made around like 2.5 times our money. So we are also a contractor, so we were really aware of the cost of everything going into it. And we were really like made very calculated decisions as to whether this was going to add value to the home on the resale side or not.
Area of expertise, this price range.
Sorry?
I would say this is certainly not my area of expertise when you get into that price range and those kind of decisions, but you were very much into each of the upgrades and the sizes and the feature set of the properties upstairs. You were very much into that.
Sure. I mean, I did, I found the property, financed it, ran like the day-to-day operations, did the design, the front and back landscaping. I mean, just like everything. Of course, I had an amazing team with me and help. I would never take all the credit myself, but yeah, it was a start to finish type of project.
So must have been, I was with you in court when you bid. You're excited to get it, and then you got it, and there must have been a moment of, oh my God, what did we just buy? Yes?
Oh, for sure. I mean, at the time, it was like peak COVID. People were kind of not buying. There was a moment in time before the bidding wars started where people were halted a little bit because no one knew if the market was going to go up or down or what was going to happen. So we were definitely excited, but at the same time, we were like, oh, the market could either, be fine and our comps will comp out and, we'll sell it fine, or the market could be going on a downward trend. And what did we just get into? And this is such a big project. And, why are we doing this? So yeah, there was definitely mixed emotions when we closed on it.